Trump's
a brain
and his body. That's what people are asking a lot of questions about, okay? I want to show you different examples. You have just the sort of physical health with any president, including Biden and others of his age. There's going to be a lot more questions than other. And then all of the presidents we should have be, demanding transparency and all the necessary info. Even during the campaign, there were headlines amid plenty of talk about Biden's age, obviously. But you also had tons of concerns about Trump's. Newsweek reporting Donald Trump's health is of increasing concern to voters, especially when the contrast became Kamala and Trump. But, Americans were like, whatever, let's try Trump again. And I love how Americans, the whole majority goes, yeah, we need a younger president. Trump. Come on. Both parties admitted that, and then only one switched out their candidate. And then the Daily Beast reports Trump has got another mystery bruise on his hand, and photos like this have been going viral of just some strange bruising or maybe some sort of issue that is covered up with makeup, and that could be the brown color. But anywho, that's part of it. And then this was really brought into the social media discourse when, as I just spilled, speaking of cognitively, I just spilled
not cognitively
my coffee all over myself. But before I play this of Lawrence O'Donnell bringing up the question of if Trump is so bad at knowing things already, how would we know if he were declining? But I know a lot of MAGA is going to say, how dare you talk about this, Luke, when you refused to talk about Biden's decline? But of course, that's not true because I did write a book. Trust, Biden's Decline, What I Knew, and Who's to Blame. But that doesn't mean I can't also have Truth, Trump's Decline, How I Knew, and Who Told Me. I can have both. Okay? So here's Lawrence O'Donnell saying, maybe the current president we should put a little attention on. And by the way, what's tough here, and this is what I'm going to argue, is fine, MAGA, I'll defend Trump for you. I'll do it. I don't think he's declining. I just think he's stupid.
Donald Trump gets dementia. How will we know? Donald Trump's mental decline, which is more and more obvious, started from such a low level of mental processing power that it's hard to track his decline.
That's such a brutal statement. I'm cleaning up right now my coffee spill. That's so brutal. Lawrence, you son of a gun. Oh my gosh. If he gets some sort of actual illness, how would we know when his processing power is so bad?
Hard to track his decline. It's from low to lower. And then there are days like today when Donald Trump asks himself out loud in public if he is allowed to appoint himself chair of the Federal Reserve. Now, it may be tiresome to hear, but we must not grow weary of making the point that no other president was ever capable of saying anything as stupid or as indicative of dementia as that. Am I allowed to appoint myself chair of the Federal Reserve? And we must not grow weary of reminding ourselves what the White House press corps would have done if Joe Biden ever said anything like that.
Can I be a Fed chair? Sorry about Fed chair. Can I be a Fed chair? I just Fed chair. I could sit in a chair. I work in the federal government.
And how big the headlines would be in the next day's print editions of the New York Times and the Washington Post and every newspaper in the country, because if we grow weary of making the point of how singularly stupid and possibly clinically demented Donald Trump's statements are.
Wow! Lawrence! Something was in Lawrence's coffee this morning. Wow! I love the way his speaking style too, because it gives such ambiance to the words he's saying. Because if I said that, we can't forget how stupid that would sound. Really juvenile. But the way he says it, as we sit here tonight, we cannot forget that Trump has a leaky, eeky brain.
Weary of making the point of how singularly stupid and possibly clinically demented Donald Trump's statements are, then we will become part of the normalization process of those statements, which most of the American news media has unwittingly participated in. And 14-year-olds in this country will think it's perfectly normal for a president to say those things.
Yeah, so in recent days, we've had all of these moments, like him looking at the Declaration of Independence, not really knowing what it is, him getting his days all wrong with the whole Newsom debacle, and what was him thinking he was signing a deal with the European Union when it was with the UK, and the UK notably left the European Union, and others. And it's sort of like, all right, what's tough with him is that he's always not known much, but maybe he knows less or is able to his absolutely embarrassing processing power may have just gotten worse. And what I think people don't understand when they say, Luke, this is a partisan attack. Come on, he's better than he's ever been. They don't understand is that I'm standing on business.
You're not getting it. It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
I don't think it is. That's what my haters don't get. Before this next clip, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. And the live show is happening. Yes, it is, Jaden. There we go. July 5th. So you'll have your July 4th celebrations, which I thought we weren't going to have that this year. Charlie Kirk told me because of Juneteenth. But the next day after July 4th, July 5th, we will have a live show. Be there, lukebshow.com/live, Austin, Texas. I'll meet all of you and I'll talk and we'll have music. It'll be great. This even came up, this subject, just to show you the attention that it's getting, on friend of the show, David Pakman's show with Governor of California, Gavin Newsom.
As far as your role as governor to welcome or not welcome the vice president there, is he welcome as far as you're concerned?
He's the vice president of the United States. I revere the office of vice president. I revere the office of president. And I say that as a former mayor.
All right, so that's about JD, sorry.
What the hell happened to JD?
Yeah, that was the wrong clip.
But these institutions will maintain that reverence for them.
I want to talk briefly about something you've been willing to talk about, but not everybody in the Democratic Party has, which is that something seems to be going on here with Donald Trump's cognition. There was this thing last week where the president said that he had spoken to you in the previous day and about the sending in of National Guard troops. It turned out that you had had a call 4 days earlier during which that topic was not broached. And this, as you pointed out, raised a question of, does Donald Trump know what day it is? Just in the last 48 hours, he seemed to suggest that the Declaration of Independence came as a result of the Civil War rather than the Revolutionary War, off by about 100 years. We've seen Jake Tapper's book.
Okay, well. Yeah, but war was in both. Happens to the best of us.
Revolutionary War, off by about 100 years. We've seen Jake Tapper's book. I didn't think Joe Biden should run again. We've talked about that before, but Joe Biden's not the president right now. Donald Trump is the president. Why do you think corporate media is not super hot on touching that topic?
It's beyond me. May I applaud Lawrence O'Donnell, another network, to his credit, has been putting this together in a pretty remarkable way. I mean, you string all of these sentences and statements this guy has made, in any other case, any other president, there'd be some real conversation in this country. It would be alarming beyond words. It's not a partisan frame to say this. I mean, the fact that he even was ranting on just a day ago about raking forests in Austria, saying we need to rake the forests.
He specifically said we need to clean the floors. We need to clean the floors. Now, listen, I get it. Newsom was really defensive of Biden, so I get the MAGA hypocrisy thing that they're going to call out. But I think the best way we can correct our past is by being better in the present. And it's your president who's present right now.
That's just not normal. He's a stone cold liar about a conversation we never had. It was a complete myth. And the worst part, David, about it is that Fox News knowingly backed him up, knowingly lied to back up the president. And that's something that also should raise alarm bells. That is a red flag. We have a propaganda network. Don't take my word for it. Take Tucker Carlson's word for it in that respect. In Fox News, that's acting more like Pravda in the Soviet Union than a fair and balanced network of information. And I think they also need to be held to some level of accountability.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. Just embarrassing, that whole network, Fox News. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Now, Jennifer Welch, which, by the way, Jennifer, if you're watching, let's collab. I think we'd do a great collab. Jennifer Welch is fantastic. And she went on CNN and dropped the bomb as well.
I just think as the United States moves forward, at one point during the Iraq War, we were the propagandists. Colin Powell went to the United Nations and he used propaganda to start a war in Iraq. And George W. Bush reduced taxes during a wartime, and that's a big chunk of the deficit. And American voters care very much about that. The next big chunk of the deficit is, while Donald Trump is doing all of this stuff, his billionaire friends are not paying taxes. And that's why people can file medical bankruptcy in the richest country in the world. So with Trump, we go from all of these things. We went to his big breakup with Elon Musk, to his lackluster turnout to his birthday party. Now we're on this, and it's just crisis after crisis. And this man, I have no faith in at all, because he acts like a guy who got a day pass from the memory wing of a nursing home. I mean, when you see him on TV, he's slurring. He's not.
So I play these clips because I am a wimp. I've learned about myself. I am a wimp. I was raised, you say yes, ma'am. You say yes, sir. You say, pardon my French, but I think you're a dummy, right? I really struggle to put into stark terms like others can do. I mean, the memory wing of a, whoa, Jennifer, woo!
Because he acts like a guy who got a day pass from the memory wing of a nursing home. I mean, when you see him on TV, he's slurring. He's not competent. It is just terrifying when you see the chyron that says Trump is reviewing war plans. And as we're all sitting here, do we think that man is competent enough to review war plans when Pete Hegseth is his you know, I mean, it's just,
I think, to your point,
yeah, I mean, there are fewer scarier things than imagining Trump being handed here are your war plans for Iran. So many words. There's no images. One page too long. So long. I normally love long, but this is too long. Because we literally heard his intelligence team having to make his intelligence briefings more spiced up. More images, more Trump hype, exploding bombs and stuff literally was one of the things cited. Animations. More jazzy. So imagining him having to make such decisions is frightening. Even if you think something's not going down and he was just already rock bottom. The memory wing. There's it go. Woo! Sheesh. Share your thoughts in the comments.